welcome to the Maria Show. Today I'm finally going to be reviewing Book 4 of the Keeper of the Lost City series. This one is called Neverseen. The timestamp for when I start talking about my thoughts on the book will be in the description and also in the comments. But as always, I will be starting off with a brief overview of everything that happens in the book. The book starts off with a brief preface that suggests that someone in their group will betray them by the end of the story. Then we go to chapter 1, which picks up pretty much exactly where we left off in the third book. After a short pit stop in, I think it was either Italy or France, and getting some delicious ghiotto, I think that's how you say it, I don't know. It's like Italian ice cream or something. They head to the Black Swan's hideout, along with a stowaway that they didn't realize they had tagging along, Della, Fitz, and Bianna's mother. Sophie and her friends meet the Collective, which is basically the Black Swan's version of the Council. Sophie has a lot of questions for them, and as always, they are very vague and secretive. Sophie basically lays it out and is like, hey, if you want me to trust you guys, you gotta fill in the gaps for me here. She brings up the two gaps in her memory, the boy who disappeared and the first time that she had an allergic reaction. The Collective surprisingly agrees, but Sophie can only choose one memory to get back. And she chooses the boy that disappeared, which kind of ends up being a stone wall and is just a very blurry image. I mean, it happened when she was like 5 or 9. Sophie, her friends, and Della, of course, swear their loyalty to the Black Swan, and they kind of begin to train. Each of them works on their abilities. Della and her daughter, they work on their skills. Keith is left with a bunch of books about empathy, and Dex is doing his own thing. The Black Swan decide that Fitz and Sophie would be very good cognates, I don't know. A cognate is basically like a telepathic pair where like two telepaths have like a very deep connection and can do like a lot of cool things. So Fitz and Sophie begin to train to be that. After an encounter with a member of the Neverseen, Sophie and Bianna think that he is the boy who disappeared. So now they believe they have his power and that he was a student at Exilum. So Dex goes to work and looking at Exilum's school files in order to try and find the guy. Fast forwarding a little, the Black Swan decides that they need to break Prentice out of exile. So they stage this whole operation in order to free him, only to be stopped by the council. To get out of this, Sophie uses the cage that was given to her as a way to get out of all of this. The council and the Black Swan essentially agree to a prisoner exchange. The Black Swan will give one of the Neverseen people that they had captured, and they would in return give them Prentice. So the exchange seemingly goes well. They get Prentice, only to find out that when Sophie tries to heal him, his mind is essentially like gone. Like there's no trace of him. After that storyline kind of takes a pause, and Prentice is essentially in a coma for the rest of the book. One of the agreements that Sophie made with the council was that her and her friends would go to Exilum, which the council probably thought was really bad, but honestly they wanted to go to Exilum so that they can get as much information as they could and find out who the boy who disappeared was. So we finally, after several books, finally get a look at what Exilum is like. They have to dress in these weird uniforms. They all have to wear masks. They can't say their names. They can't really talk. They they're kind of all like anonymous and anonymous, anom, anon, 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 anonymous, why can't I say the word? Anonymous. Anonymous. They're all anonymous. Okay, yes, anonymous. Sorry about that. Also, I should also say that there is like a plague going on that's affecting only the gnomes. Pretty big part of the plot. I don't know why I didn't mention that before. I'm gonna check my notes real quick so I don't forget anything about the plot that's like vital. Okay, so they meet the twins. I forgot their name. It's like Tam and something. One of them has like water powers and the other like controls shadows. The gnome plague. Oh, Sylvini's pregnant. That's cool. Oh, Sophie gets to talk to Aurelie, one of the council members that's kind of like on their side, their ally, about Exilum and how bad it is, and they're able to like make it better and get better food, and because it was like really bad. It was really bad. The gnomes have like a big protest, and the council has like a big response like set up. I don't know the word for that, but Sophie and her friends and, you know, Mr. Forkle goes into disguises and is there for that. And it's also revealed that Mr. Forkle is also Sir Austin, which I believe was either the history teacher or the alchemist teacher. I think it was the history teacher in Sophie's school. Finton shows up at the end of that, at the big like presentation of like the announcement of like the plague and the protest or whatever. He shows up and it's a big deal, and he's like revealed to be alive, which I did suspect, but that was a really cool reveal. The ogres essentially claim to have the cure for the plague that's going on with the gnomes. It kind of uses that as like a power play to like, hey, like come work for me and stuff. So Sophie and her friends and Fitz's brother Alvar sneak into the ogre city and attempt to steal the cure and also probe the Ogre King's mind. Sophie ends up successfully probing the Ogre King's mind undetected, but what they find out is pretty discouraging. The cure isn't real, it's a complete hoax. Next up, they had a big reveal where it was Alvar that was actually the boy that disappeared, and it turns out he has been part of the Neverseen for years now. Kala, I think is her name, ends up sacrificing herself and basically plants herself at Havenfield and becomes a tree and essentially becomes the cure for all of the gnomes. Sylvini and Greyfield are set free because they realize that she is more safer out there where people like the ogres or no one would like expect us to free them, so that's like the safer option for them. In the ending chapters, Keith is starting to be very sus and is very suspicious, only to find out that Keith is joining the Neverseen, and it's a whole betray scene and it sucks. In the very last line of the book, it is revealed that Prentice has been woken up. Now to get into my thoughts on the book. Now, to start off, honestly, I feel like this one was one of the weaker books in the series. Now, that doesn't mean that it was like bad or terrible by any means, but it was honestly kind of, to me, boring at times. There was still a lot about like the plot and different things that were revealed and like different scenes and chapters that I enjoyed and I thought were interesting, but it was still at times a bit hard to get through. I think I would give it maybe like a 3.5 stars, 3 to 4 stars, around that. Got my notes again so I don't forget. The little window slumber party thing with Sophie and Keith was really cute. I really liked Keith's character a lot in the story. I really liked his like character arc and all like the turmoil and like his whole plot line that happened in the story was really good, and I liked it. The twins were I didn't really care for them. Maybe some people really like them, or maybe I'll get more fond to them in the next stories. I guess the thing is, like, whenever you're like watching like a TV show or like a book series, or like even just a book series where they like after a while start adding like new characters, it's hard to form, I guess, more like attachment to them, because it's like, well, we've spent all this time with these other characters and we care more about them, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, their characters were didn't really have much personality. I felt like their story was like, I don't know, I just wasn't very interested in them. That'll probably change as, like, you know, like they become more prominent characters throughout the series, but just in this book, I didn't really care much for them. The council sucks, as always. They need to... Revolution. When's it happening? I'm there. I'm really curious what the other identities of the collective are, and like it seems like it's people that we already know. So like, I don't know, that's just very interesting. And I've always been sus of Alden for a while. And I just wonder, like, is he part of the Neverseen? Is he one of the identities? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's something going on with him, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a red herring. Oh my god, and I think I called out Alvar from like book 1. That I felt like he was like a little suspicious, and like I think I literally said that I thought he was like either part of the Neverseen or the Black Swan, or there was something up with him. So yeah, I expected that, but also I was very like shocked and like wasn't expecting that. Like I wasn't expecting him to be the boy who disappeared, or like you know, because the author did like a really good job of like misdirecting the audience, and to having like the boy who disappeared like have like completely think that he was from exile and he had a completely different power, like completely just misdirected them to think that it was someone else. So that was very well done. I'm really glad that Slovene was free. Ever since she was captured, and like just seeing how like sad and depressed she was when she was like in a cage and not able to fly and stuff, and kind of made herself like okay with being this in the sanctuary. But I'm so glad that she's able to just like go anywhere, and that's great. Keith's betrayal, so that was pretty good, and I like how like throughout the book the author kind of prepared us for it, because she made the readers accustomed to Keith's like personality changes, and that means like that something is going on like throughout the book, like when he's like when he sees his mother like be dragged away and like tortured, and he thinks that she's like dead, like he has like a completely personality shift, and he's like sad, and it's really sad. And so at the end of the book, when he's acting real sus, like that's done really well, and I was like, okay, like what is going on, you know? He really did not want Sophie involved at all, and he just wanted to leave, and because he thought that that was like his purpose or something. I'm not really sure. He said that some of his memories that his mother took came back, and I guess something about these memories made him realize that this was his purpose, or that he was made for, something like that. I'm curious what was revealed to him that, or like what was brought back to him that he thought that way. And I hope that he realizes soon that like even if his mother did like essentially groom him to be part of the Neverseen, that he doesn't have to be. I was very shocked that he gave up the cage. That was crazy. I think that was pretty big. But also, I think if it came down to it, I don't think he would hurt definitely not Sophie, and definitely none of his friends. When it like really comes down to it, I think he's going to like turn on the Neverseen then. Yeah, just that part where he takes the cage, and like Sophie thinks like, oh, like he can't take the cage, like he doesn't know the password and he has to do it in my voice, and then he does it, and like I suddenly remember like, oh right, he's a mimicker, that makes total sense. And then he heard Fitz and Sophie talk about the passcode, and that was insane. And yeah, that was a good way to end it, with Prentice being awake. I hope that the next book follows up with that, where it's like the first chapter they go to see Prentice, because like, how long have we been waiting to hear from this man? I really hope that it's not a letdown, and it's like Prentice doesn't know anything, and we have like been building towards being able to talk about this man, and that this man has all of these secrets and things that we need to know, and all of these answers, and it ends up like not being that mind-blowing. I really hope that it's everything like the author has built up towards. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much all of my thoughts. Oh, also that cognate training was pretty fun. Those were fun scenes. Also the relationship scenes between Keith and Keith and Sophie. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. If you've read this book, please comment down below of what you thought about it, your review. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, if you wanted me to talk about something that I didn't mention or whatever. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If reviews like these are interesting to you, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you would like to know when I post next. And I guess that's it. Bye, guys.